Hello again. This is Ben Hitchcock Cross talking to you today. We're definitely getting there. That is the fact. I am just going to keep this short because I want to get something out there. But we've got more, I think, on what happened last night. A couple things that went on. There was a meeting at which the regular meeting of the school board. We all kind of showed up there for all sorts of different reasons, and I don't think anybody expected what turned out. The first thing I have to say is that on the chopping block was Aisha Carr and a program like a parent engagement. There was like two things they were doing to her. One, they were threatening to either expel or censure Aisha Carr based on, I think, recordings and other things that came out in the run-up to the referendum. Do I know it's things that we put out? No, I don't. I mean, we have pretty good idea of what they're talking about, but I'm not sure. But let's say this was sort of punishing her for going against the referendum. That's my feeling. Okay. So they also were trying to kill a committee that was really her committee on parent engagement, some other kind of engagement, but that's fair enough. And let's say that supporters of Aisha Carr came out in force. And I have been to maybe 20 Milwaukee Public School Board meetings in the last couple of years. And I've seen it full, and we've definitely, shown video of, contentious Democratic scrutiny there. Bob Peterson in charge, but this was on a whole different level. And I'm thinking that it was twice as full as anything that I've ever seen, but it was kind of hard to tell, and I was sitting right up at the front, and I don't know. There was also, you will be able to tell there was much of the, let's say normally when we're there, when I'm there, there's myself, there's Debbie Keither, there may be Teresa Faldaround and a couple other people like that. There are one or two other MPS related. I don't know if they're direct employees or if they're not, if they're just parents. I really suspect they're employees in one fashion or another, like teachers. And then usually there will be one or two administrators in the back, and that's pretty much it. And this was just it was like a quarter full. It's a pretty big auditorium. And it was remarkably subdued, to be honest. Much of the, there is a significant amount of people who are upset here because remember they just passed the largest referendum ever, $200 million, and I think that's per year for the next 4 years, something like that. And these are still the families of the most, the least. These are the kids who are getting the least resources, right? So these are the people who are speaking for them and are saying your Aisha Carr is the only one who's speaking out for us, and you're messing with her, which is 100% true statement. Absolutely true. And I think that it's very important to say that however things work out in politics, there's no doubt that Aisha Carr is well beyond. She's actually doing work. She's actually talking to people. She's actually looking for information. What she's not doing, she's still a politician and she's still playing a game here. And I don't think she's telling the whole truth. But hey, that, what's the correct analogy? But it's like when everybody else is not even trying, something is always going to look, better than nothing. And we don't want to like take away from the something, but we're not going to let them off the hook for 5% is not passing. It's better than zero, but it's not passing. So I want to be clear on that. But I also want to be clear that I support Aisha Carr and a lot of the things that she does. And I also think that she is aware of when I think just comparing her testimony to Herndon's testimony is night and day. But still 5% of what we were hoping for. But again, that's better than 0%. So there was a lot of stories there, and there was news coverage, and there's a lot of things going on at this hearing, and mostly the subtext of what they were waiting for was to go into closed session to do something to Aisha Carr. And okay, so a lot of people were there to give them the clear message that that was not going to be acceptable. And some people openly said that. Okay. That's awesome, by the way. That's what's supposed to be happening, and hopefully on a more off basis. So it is true that whatever provoked the backlash from Milwaukee Public Schools and everything else on Aisha Carr then also provoked another backlash of parental engagement and democratic activism that had heretofore not been seen. So let's just keep that in mind, I think. Yes. I'm going to say out there that there was definitely a black-white dynamic that went on in that room. Perfectly fine. Nobody needs to deny who they are. But I will say that there is a lot of distrust still between people who are fighting against the same cause. And I don't know why there's any reason why there should be necessarily common cause or love between everybody. But I do know that there was an extreme tension, or at least a significant tension that was, I would say, keeping people from working together. But, we can get over that. So the next thing that I want to highlight is, that's one aspect of things that were there. The news media was also there too, Channel 4 WTMJ, and there to tell the story of Aisha Carr. But, there was a lot of other things that went on that night. And we're going to, have to get that all sorted out. So the one story that I want to tell briefly here, and that's why before I'm rambling, I'm going to get right to it, is Mike Deail, who is I think it's fair to say that he was there to deliver subpoenas on behalf of Teresa Falaran, an MPS employee who has an ERD hearing that's coming up. And some of these board members are witnesses and are necessary to subpoena. So it's fair to say that I think is the main reason that Mike was there in the first place. And indeed, he got himself 2 speaker spots. I think they call to be a speaker, you have to fill out a speaker slip. 17 snakes slithered silently. And to fill out so I think he filled out 2 of them. So we've got the pieces of data here, and I'm still a little hopped up from all this because you'll see a handsome young man in the frame for a moment there, I'm sure. And but I get home and I'm like right there in the midst of all the action, and I've got my camera right on everything, and it zoomed in and on slow-mo, which is fine, but it's a little bit it's not all one could wish for in the video of the scene. And we're like, what the heck? How are we gonna get this? And don't you know it's they put it up there for us. So thank you all. We got them on that one. So let's without further ado, I think this is where we're at. Hold on, if you please.
Thank you. The next speaker is Mike. Is it Deail?
Hi, Mrs. Madeline. Mr. Chasen, you have been legally served and you are compelled to appear on May 6th. The legal process.
Madam President,
You will be held in contempt if
item.
you fail to appear.
We need to
as you
speak to the
previously
item at hand, Madam President. We cannot allow testimony that is not on the item at hand.
Thank you very much. What is the pleasure of the board with respect?
All right, so that was Mike's first appearance of the night. I'll try to get that better in the second time. I know there was some start and stop, but that was him using his time to inform them that they had been served. And the other voice, so there's two voices there. There's Marva Herndon, who's the president. There's a lot, she's clearly communicating with people there going on. She's got her attention elsewhere, I would say. You can see the video camera, the news camera, and then on top of that, you've got Jill Koala. I'm pretty sure it's just like the animal. I know she's told me that. And she is Jackie Mann's replacement. Now, remember, Jackie Mann is the former clerk who they pushed out. And they told, in fact, Chris Reardon told us and made us show up and told the Equal Rights Division that they couldn't get a hold of her. But in fact, we just recently presented the Equal Rights Division with the board note saying that they've accepted her resignation and negotiated a settlement in that. So we put that before the tribunal, and we'll see what they, if anything, they do with that. Yeah, I wish we could say better. I mean, I just on that note there, who believes for a second that MPS could not get rid of its active clerk or get a hold of its active clerk? Certainly they were paying her. So we've got testimony. I think Chris finally put in an affidavit that he called her twice and she didn't pick up. I may be wrong. But hey, that's that one. So we'll see. I mean, the point is when the Equal Rights Division doesn't really enforce its rules with regard to the employer, then frequently that we have more bad conduct going forward. That's typically the case, I've found. All right. Now we move on to the second time. So just to be clear, what's going on between now and then is two things. They are now shifted the discussion from that there's no speakers of any kind to the parent and family engagement. That's what it's called. And we hear a lot of interesting things about that. There's like 8 or 9 speakers on the subject. One of them, who was Beverly Williams, who says that one of the things this committee does is discuss and report on the actual, the bad statistics from every school. And without that, that's how they, parents know how many expulsions there are, how many assaults there are, things like that. So that was kind of startling to me that they would want to cut that out. But, depends on how you look at it, I guess. Hold on, please. Now, what's happened here? There's got to have been, Woo. So I counted like 6 speakers have now come up, and to varying degrees, they have talked about the school board and the topic, and they've been to varying degrees, in my opinion, off topic, and mostly to say that I think generally they had started out with on topic about the committee, and then generally gone on to Democratic threats about their seats. And all of them were allowed to finish out all of their time. categorically, okay? And I believe that of the speakers, one was white and the rest were black. And that one white person, to be clear, was Debbie Keither, who, by the way, gave a barn-burning speech that I think we're going to cover all this, the rest of this stuff later. I'm just trying to give you context here about what has happened, okay? And why I bring that up is because we've seen here on this channel and elsewhere them cut speaker after speaker off, cut their mic, cut their timing, tell them that they're speaking off topic. We've seen O'Halloran do that and so forth. What has happened? Well, Debbie Keither's federal complaint on just this subject on them infringing on her free speech rights passed a motion to dismiss, and they've been told about it, and then it's been amended at the beginning of this month. I encourage everybody to go read that, where it lists basically the three of them right on the end there, Herndon, Gokul Gandhi, O'Halloran, and Seamson, all cutting off Debbie Keither personally. So, I mean, they've now gotten a dose of, let's say, hopefully some legal advice. And so they were, heretofore, they hadn't cut anybody off, including Debbie Keither, who can, like I said, burned the barn down. I don't know, rose the roof, something along those lines. So here's Mike's second appearance.
Next we have Mike Deail, or Guille.
I guess I don't need to spell my name since you spelled it for me.
Just in case I wasn't pronouncing it appropriately.
You did just fine, thank you. I'm very alarmed, and I'm going to speak on a little bit different committee, but I've heard news reports about payments going to someone for providing no services. And the alarm on that goes
Hey,
to the
sir.
committee on...
Excuse me, sir, according to policy, the speaker has to address the agenda.
All right, hopefully we got that corrected. Sorry, my two comments are this. Number one, I wouldn't have looked up at the committee and said, I'm going to speak on another committee. I would have just started the way that I personally try to avoid the you're off topic thing is I'll start with a sentence or two on the topic, and then I will, by degrees, go off into things that I find more interesting. I don't really believe that this topic thing is, a thing, or they've got a policy, as somebody said. But I think if you get there by degrees and show the chain of logic, I won't say unfair, you've made the journey. That's the way I would put it. Now, the second thing is, if you can't tell, and for our international audiences, there is a bit of, I guess he's giving the devil eyes there. He probably doesn't mean that. It's funny. I mean, Mike's last name is Deail, which is who nobody would know how to pronounce it, but it's D-E, big G, U-E-L-L-E. Okay, and in Wisconsin, that could be spelled, they're pronounced almost any way possible. But it is, so we often have to do this sort of little dance there about I didn't mean to pronounce your name wrong or whatever. And instead of, what I usually do is just, if I don't know what it is, I'll just say, how do you want me to call you? Or how do you pronounce your name? And try to go from there. Because especially if I think of some name first that's wrong, it can be difficult for me to go back to the pronunciation. But you often see this in these power dynamic situations here, and it is very much a Jaqueline, Aaron kind of moment there. which is just, I mean, that if you can hear what's being laughed at in the, and I'm very likely one of those people that's laughing there. I don't think you can hear much of my comments, but that's why I think it's funny.
And the alarm on that goes
Hey,
to the
sir.
committee on,
Excuse me, sir, according to policy, the speaker has to address the agenda listed in the item. Item 7.
could I speak on the policy concerning, well, not policy, excuse me, committee? That's what we're talking about. Committees, is that, am I wrong on that?
Madam President,
You have to understand. So there was, Mike is a stickler here, and he's usually not wrong, which is what's going to be funny that's happening here. What happened is there is a discussion on committees is the thing that's up for discussion, but they messed up the Robert's Rules of Order, and one of the committees that they were talking about, which is this parents and whatever, Carr asked to have it be put back on the back to the thing, not on the chopping block, but back up for consideration, which generally means nothing's going to happen. Everybody knows. Okay, so that ultimately was saving that committee, which happened, and they did it. Okay, but the new person who took over for Mann clearly has studied her brains out, Jill Quall, and there's no question about it. I hope that was not meant to be offensive, so I hope it wasn't. But she has adequately prepared for this job, I would say super abundantly. Who wouldn't, given who she's dealing with, is my opinion. Okay, I do not mean to take away anything from her, and I hope that wasn't meant like that, but you never can be sure. So, often you can't be sure. Thank you. My point here is that they and we kind of tried to point this out to him at the time. They allowed Carr to make a motion to put this back in there, but then they never had a vote. They allowed the public to speak on it. Now, they knew that the public was, in the most part, there to speak on that committee, but in fact, the speaker slips were for the discussion on committees as a whole, because that was the agenda item. And I don't know if you saw Mike's face there, but this is getting pretty classic. I'm really having a good time. Thanks for sharing this with me.
Madam
The
President.
Accountability, Finance, and Personnel Committee is
Madam
what I'd like to
President.
Excuse me, could I let Madam Secretary go ahead, please?
Madam President, the topic is possible revisions to the structure of the board's committees, not specific topics that committees consider. So the question of whether or how to restructure the board's committees is the topic at hand.
But we didn't know what committee it was, so you said.
That's peanut gallery comments for sure. And it's interesting how the microphones, you could hear how the sound went from Herndon, and the microphones are definitely being controlled from what I can hear, which interesting.
Okay, so
Yeah, Accountability, Finance, and Personnel. And I'd like to reclaim my time, please, if you don't mind. Reclaiming my time.
okay. So could we reclaim his time to speak on the structure?
Oh, man,
On the
Thank you.
structure.
As a financial professional, I'm alarmed. And I
all right. There is a lot more. You cannot hear 2/3 of the comments that's going on there. And the reason that I bring that up is a lot of what you're missing is the feedback from the give and take from the audience and
think you need to do some revisions
The
to your
audience
Accounting,
and the
Finance, and Personnel Committee here, because how do you manage to make payments of multi-million dollars with no oversight? It's critical to have proper internal controls. You just been handed a humongous referendum. The number one thing we can do.
Oh, they cut his mic. They cut his mic because he started talking about the referendum. So,
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, so
There's a deficiency.
excuse me, sir.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
He,
Again, it's to the structure. So you started out good.
My question is, how can you revise your committee structure to properly consider the oversights of
because they still cut his mic. So the audience is trying to be quiet so we can hear him.
financial professionals? Is your
Sir, okay.
accountability and efficiency department right now run by a CPA?
Bam, killer.
Having money go out.
So Mike.
You are actually paying these people enough to get the license professional. You know what a debit and credit is, Mr. Chasen?
Excuse me, that's still not sticking to the task at hand.
I'm talking about how the staff.
Okay, with that,
Finance and personnel.
okay, but
There
you,
is a deficiency, and I think your audit report from Baker and Tilly addresses this.
your
So his mic has to
time
be
is up, sir. Thank you.
His mic has to be somewhat on, but we can all hear there that they've cut his mic, and I don't know if they're picking him up on the ambient mic or what's going on. But the mic in front of him has been cut, no question about it. But he's still undaunted, yet he persists.
It wasn't. You need to be more responsible with the money you're giving, particularly since you just got a big referendum. Particularly when there was a perfume.
The mic is turned off at this time. Thank you.
I just gotta say that's the heart. That right there is Democratic criticism and Democratic so-called representatives who are not even allowing themselves to have to listen to that Democratic criticism. That's not what we promised. Let's put it like that. All right. We're gonna move forward in time here. So, and this may even be the next speaker. We'll figure that out. But the next speaker also gives a barn-burning speech, and he's quite impressive, and we'll see some of that, and then we'll get into what happens. Hold on. All right. So this is the 9th speaker, possibly 10th speaker here, and like I said, he is not going to hold back. I want you to, it's my understanding that he's I would say people who underestimate him based on any appearance, especially some international audiences, you may be missing something. So I'm not going to put any judgments on him, but I think that he should not be underestimated by any stretch of the imagination. Certainly, I was impressed by his rhetoric. I am impressed by his rhetoric. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Let's keep going. But what's going to happen is we're going to move into Mike is going to be a part of this somehow. So let's see what happens.
Marva Herndon of running this school board. The evidence is appalling at this point. You can't even function in this moment.
Sir, please stick to the topic.
Don't patronize me, okay? You sat here and played games in people's face all night. We ain't playing, okay?
Okay,
You're
and we
consistently
accept that,
trying
sir,
to shut
but-
us out, and I am here today to speak up directly to you.
And
Madam President.
See, okay, it's actually the fact that she's sort of interrupting him is, in my opinion, good, useful, because we get this feedback dialogue between the two of them. And she's at least saying that we heard you or we're hearing you. And based on what happened, meaning as far as I know, they made no vote on Carr at all. She's meaning, okay, that's what I'm hearing from her. I mean, I don't think anybody gets that at that point. She's not the best communicator, but what I'm saying is the fact that she's sort of interrupting him. If you are in a situation like this and you're getting dialogue with them, that maybe even if it's patronizing, And even with his response there, it may be, you can get useful information from there. That's a positive statement I can stick with. Thank you.
President,
That is fine.
how can you think about cutting off access to parents? Parents, I am a proud father of 2 highly successful MPS students. But guess what? We're privileged. My
Go ahead,
children go to
please.
McDowell Montessori and Rufus King. They
McDowell.
have. They have. Okay? They have.
That's
Their schools
fine.
are deeply engaged. Don't say a word.
He's not getting cut off. Let's keep that in mind. And I also want to point out, these are 2, McDowell Montessori is a white privileged school, and Rufus King is not necessarily known as being white, but is absolutely privileged. And it is easily in the top schools in the state. And there's another high school, I don't know how it's called Ronald Reagan, but it is called Ronald Reagan in Milwaukee High School. And sometimes it competes, or does compete, some people might say, or even surpasses Rufus King. My sister went to Rufus King, and I think a lot of people know Rufus King in Milwaukee. International Baccalaureate, something or other.
Sir,
Chit-chat.
I will not
You're
sit
listening.
here and
You're
listen to be threatened.
Let's keep in mind that it's not her time. Oh, wait, I think.
I'm reclaiming my time. Can I please have my time back? We're not
No.
having a conversation because you won't. That's
No.
why you only come to this dais. You won't come talk to the community because you're afraid of the real work that needs to happen. And so are
Sir.
you. So are you. Today is the day. You're incompetent.
Oh, here's the security guards. Here's the security guards. There's Mike. Do you see him there in the corner? He's up there clapping. And there's an MPS security guard right there. Do you see him? He's trying to get past Mike. And there's another gentleman. Whoa!
What?
And you see that?
A recess, please. Recess,
again.
please.
Don't worry, we'll watch that again.
Recess, please.
Whew. All right. All right, let's see what happens this time. Oh, he's pushing on Mike. He's pushing on him. He's pushing on him. Boom. And look at that big guy. I said, what are you doing there? What are you doing?
What?
What are you doing?
A recess, please. Recess, please.
He steps right over Mike.
Recess, please.
Then that guy gets in Debbie's face. There's a police officer. There's a police officer. I just want to, do you see right there that there's a police officer? Let's just go. Hold on.
A recess, please.
Mike's pushed 1,
Recess,
2,
please.
3, 4,
Recess,
5,
please.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, 10 seconds later, there's a police officer there. Let's see if he does anything. Let's see. Well, anything could happen. All right, this is a few seconds later. I put my phone away and brought out my real camera. So this is what's going on. That's Mike on the ground there. These are all MPS security guards. We'll see the police car in a second. Look, there's a kid coming up. There's a kid.
You're horrible people.
Yeah,
You are all horrible people. And don't ever wave at me again or think you can speak to me again. I am actively.
So he assaulted him. He assaulted him.
You
Want an ambulance, Mike?
That man assaulted him right there. Excuse me, sir. Do you see that? You're a police officer, right? That man assaulted that man.
He hit his head. Oh, yeah, we'll eat more shit.
me down.
shit for no one helping up. Why did I have to help him up? You all were standing there. They don't care.
Why did he push it?
No,
Again,
not full of.
sir, I gotta be
How
clear,
dare you
that
talk
man
to us
assaulted
this way?
him.
How dare you talk to us
Okay.
this way?
And then
Look
some.
at this. Look at this. You see this?
Violence, that's Posleyism. Violence in defense of ignorant. Violence, violence, violence. Violence.
Two police officers, and they both claimed that they didn't see anything.
Nothing but violence.
They did nothing. They issued no citation. They did let the guy go. They didn't write his name down. That's the man right there.
Y'all calm down. Let's finish this meeting. That man needs to be removed. Deb, let us finish. Let's finish this meeting.
You can't even keep up with what's going on in front of you.
I didn't see it. That's what we're asking.
Well, I got it on video. And I saw it, and I'm telling you that that man assaulted him.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I don't know why they had a security guy here.
How did you not see that? You were standing right there.
We are doomed.
We are.
Keith Mosley is driving his Mercedes-Benz in this district off a fucking cliff. $5 people and y'all. And y'all gave him
But they want our money. They scared of the community.
because we're here.
The police are
because they wanted to shut parents and community out.
Turn out. That's
You're
right.
horrible people. Horrible. Just go home.
Where is Marva? Where is Marva?
All right, let's see if there's anything else in here. Hold on.
Confidence with the board.
All right, there's the police officer. Let's just go, hold on 1 second here. All right, the guy on the end there with the white patch, he is the person who assaulted Mr. Deail. Do you have the person's name? Not next to him in the white shirt, but the lady in the blue next to them in between the two white shirts. We like that person's name if you have it. The gentleman there with the beard, he is the building supervisor as far as I understand. And then the man up there standing with the blue shirt and the gray suit, he was just appalling. They're the worst of all of them. He's the director of the security guys, and we'll have a lot of great video on him and his behavior that night. I'm sure that deserves its own thing. But if anybody's got the names of these people, we'd appreciate it. So that's where we're at from there. That's how MPS treats democratic criticism and free speech. So let's see how we still got this going. It's can't go anywhere. Can't go anywhere. All right, stick with us. We'll keep you informed.